Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. There is a lot going on with the New York mayoral race, but one of the things that I will say that I'm really passionate about is marketing. You all know that. You all follow me on the channel. And Zoran Mondani, when it comes to his campaign, mwah, it's brilliant. By far, he is going to get my top three. There'll be two other top three campaigns of the year. But let's break apart and let's start really dissecting the architecture of his campaign because it's brilliant. So, in marketing, what is very difficult to do is find the right messenger for the message. So, there are three things about Maldani's campaign that I think is brilliant. One is the message, two, it's really the branding, and three, it's the outreach. His outreach game is giving me pre-President Obama. But let's start with the messaging. So when it comes to the messaging is not what people think. You cannot just create a messaging out of a vacuum. When it comes to creating a message, it is it encompasses several different aspects. The first part of the message is to really look at what's going on culturally in the country. And what is going on now is people feel like stuff is so expensive, overpriced. I mean, hell, $9 for a gallon of milk is crazy. And people are responding to that. And people are standing behind him because they feel that the affordability is just unbearable. And it is. And I'm in DC. So can you imagine in New York? So let's look at the messaging overall. When it comes to the message, it hits several things. When you're creating a message for a campaign, the first thing you need to look at is it something that can sustain culturally? Is it something that can be sustained demographically from a psychographic perspective? That's like behavior, interest. And then, more important, is it something that all people can get behind? And so, of course, yeah, everyone can get behind like stuff is too expensive. Now, whether or not he's going to govern well, that's not what we're talking about. We're simply talking about the perspective of the marketing campaign itself. So from a messaging perspective, the message is on point. One of the things that you can often do when you're looking at a message for any kind of campaign is, will it play across several demographics? Will it play across MAGA? Will it play across Democrats? Will it play across independents? Will it play across women? Will it play like how will everyone respond and engage with the campaign? That is the first strength of a great campaign. So, for example, with President Obama's campaign, the message of hope, that is what we needed at that time. But let me be clear, the message itself, it was going to be a great message, whether it was President Obama selling the message or whether it was someone else, another Democrat selling the message. The message is the message, right? The message has to be something that is driven by the time and the culture. Make America Great Again, the message of President Trump, was essentially created because people felt that America was no longer the America that they knew. They felt that America was becoming too brown, too black, and people, they did not have opportunity and access. And it really was the browning of America. So, regardless of whether you like that or not like that, we're not here to debate that. What I'm simply here to talk about is the facts of developing a messaging campaign. So, when you are developing a message campaign, what you always want to look at is it going to play across various groups, not just one group, but various groups. The second part of a messaging campaign is, who is the messenger? Now, messengers are typically attractive and they're charismatic and they are engaging and personal. You cannot have a stiff person like, oh my God, I want to be. That's just not going to happen, right? Which is one of the reasons why I feel that when you look at vice presidents, you need to look at, well, I was going to go somewhere, but I'm not going to go there. But when you look at who is compelling as it relates to the messenger, Zohan's he's attractive, he's funny, he's interesting. You want to have a beer with him. Like that is who needs to sell the message. And when you have someone who's kind of stale and dry, nobody wants to talk to that person. If I don't want to date you, hang out with you, or be your friend, or in any way, you're not going to be a good messenger, right? That's just basic one-on-one of PR. So Zohan is such a compelling person. He's interesting. I've seen him on podcasts, hear him on podcasts, seen him in shows. He's funny as I don't know what, right? So that is what's compelling people to say, I like this guy. I could get behind this guy. This guy is funny. I could stand on a corner with this guy and and pank, as they used to say back in the day, and talk to him. I mean, he's funny. He's interesting. I could also go to a dinner party or be at a happy hour and sit up here and talk to him, and he's going to make me laugh. Like people love that kind of stuff. So he himself is a great messenger for the message. The message is going to be carried out regardless of who is in office. That's just basic, right? The messenger is the person who's going to really help you get engaged. You're going to want to participate. You're going to get your butt out and put your shoes on and them tennis shoes and knock on some doors. When you see people canvassing and they want to canvass, that's how you know you have the right messenger. And it's not just like a person who is educated. That doesn't matter anymore. I know so many of the most profound and charismatic and compelling individuals who don't have a master's degree or MBA and all that kind of stuff, but they have the ability and the strength of what's really important now, which is to motivate people and get them to get out and get to action. Jasmine Crockett is like that. AOC is like that. Doesn't matter how old people are. Bernie can still do it. So when you're looking at really a great PR and campaign, you want to look at the message and the messenger. The second part is the branding. I feel that whoever architect his campaign is brilliant. The reason why I said that is his campaign is a throwback to an era where New York was affordable, everyone was community, the culture was as my nieces and them say, was lit, right? So it's a cultural movement where people are included, right? If you look at the color palette of his branding, the color palette is really dated. It's not a color palette that is political, not by any stretch of the imagination. His logo, the font script, like this stuff is masterfully executed. The font script, the elements of the font, the elements of the logo, all of it is carefully crafted. The imagery, him in the metro on the subway stop, him knocking on doors, talking to people, the foot traffic element is very synonymous with what you would see. Look at the videos back in like the 90s, the 80s, like go back and look at the historical components of campaigns during that time. His campaign is very nostalgic as it relates to what was going on in that time. Why is that important? Because what it subtly does is that it takes you back to a time when things were affordable. It takes you back to a time when people were community based. It takes you back where people did feel like they could afford to have and build a life and something was going to happen. They were working towards something. So it's masterfully executed. The other thing that I love about his campaign too, and the final piece of my assessment, the case study of his campaign, is the outreach. The outreach is game changer, right? The outreach for him and his campaign is not just social, but it's also foot traffic, knocking on the doors. Like I saw a video recently where he said he was going to out knock someone else. And when you look at the campaigns that have done really well, it's campaigns where people put their shoes on and get in the face of the people. They feel them, they touch them, not in that way, but you know what I'm saying. They engage with them in an intimate way. They shake their hands. They're on the metro. The fact that this guy came out from out of nowhere to where he is now is really synonymous with what people want. People want to be felt. People want to be heard. We're still in this post-pandemic culture and tone and tenement where people don't feel like they're engaging. I feel it. People aren't social. So the fact that he's doing that means a lot, and it says a lot strategically about his campaign, that in order to get people out, you can't just social them. You can't just send them digital ads. You can't just run print ads. That's old school. That's establishment stuff. The fact that people now want to be engaged with, they want to be talked to, they want to be heard in ways that no one else is doing reminds me of, again, of President Obama back in the day, of Mayor Fenty, who was out of Washington, D.C. I know Mayor Bowser tried to do it as well. This is the new way to engage people. It's not sitting in your executive suite office, pushing out a bunch of traditional media campaigns. It really is old school groundswell, gatekeepers, engagement, talking to people, going to the senior citizens, talking to people who don't look like you, who don't value the same things you value, but there is a common thread that they want things to be affordable. So when you look at his campaign, I think he's going to be mayor because I think his campaign is brilliantly executed. There are a lot of people who could take some tips from him because this is the direction of where everything is going. PR, communications, strategy, communications when it comes to engaging people. And I actually don't think you can use the same companies that you've been using anymore. That's not a shameless plug. That is a fact because it's going to take someone who's really truly connected, or a team of people who are connected with the people, to make the impact. And then you also have to feel it in your heart, and you have to be a person who can sell the message. But in order for you to be able to sell the message, people have to actually like you, and they have to actually trust you, which I feel that is constantly being eroded with a lot of things in politics. But with him, again, whether the free buses, reducing the police force, I don't know if that's going to work out. I'm not talking about that. I'm simply speaking to getting him to the mayor position. And I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a learning process for a lot of people. He's going to be a case study, but I feel that his campaign is done really well. I feel like he's committed. And I just think that those things, the message, the branding, and the outreach is so on point that it is a masterclass for people moving forward. And definitely for midterms. God bless you. I love you. Keep up the good work. Make sure you subscribe in this video. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. Let me know if there are any other case studies you want me to highlight, or any other companies. I do this for a living. I do it's my passion. It's my gifting. I can't say enough. Have a great day and be blessed.